Hi there, it's Russell Cummings from Shifft. Welcome to our final video in the PQ series where we're talking about how you build a PQ plan for moving ahead. So let's do a quick recap. So positive intelligence, great research by Shazad Shamin in his best-selling book on positive intelligence, which is all about mental fitness. Mental fitness defined as the percentage of time you spend being positive as opposed to being negative, right? And they've determined these terms SAGE for the positive mental states and saboteurs for the negative mental states. And so there's these two sides of what we do. The saboteurs live in the survivor brain, which is our limbic system, the left brain, and the PQ brain, or the positive part of our brain, lives is in the right brain, the prefrontal cortex, right? And they're both very, very, very different. And I guess the thing is that the saboteurs create all these negative emotions of anxiety, anger, etc., whereas the positive stuff creates emotions of curiosity, compassion, joy, creativity, peace, resolve, calmness, that sort of stuff. So it's about making sure we train ourselves to spend more time in that PQ brain with the SAGEs. So what are the SAGEs? So there's 5 key SAGEs: empathy, innovation, navigation, exploration, and activation. And these are the 5 qualities that we can focus on to help us make better decisions and keep ourselves positive. Now, there are 10 saboteurs, all right? And the judge is the one that we all have, and then we'll all have different levels of the others. Yeah. And for me, it's important that you understand the top 3 or 4 saboteurs in addition to the judge. Okay, and we've done separate videos on each of these areas. So the first thing we asked you to do was to make sure that you understand your PQ score, the amount of time you spend in positive mode, and your saboteurs, and give you a thing of your saboteurs. So if you haven't done that yet, you've probably skipped the previous videos. Probably a good time to go back and watch the videos, but if not, carry on. PQ score is that percentage of time you spend being in SAGE versus saboteur. And 70 means that SAGE is your friend, acting for 70% of the time, and then you're in self-sabotage mode for 30% of the time. So what's your score? How does that play out for you? You should have answered these in previous ones, but just go back to those notes and check where you're going. We got you to look at your saboteurs and in another exercise, and we talked about what are your top 3 or 4 saboteurs, and then to reflect on recent behaviors and to determine whether your saboteurs have played a role in those outcomes, and then what saboteurs have acted as a pack, if you like, and acted in concert to magnify the impact of those outcomes. Again, go and have a look at your notes and pick up those sorts of things. We then talked about the 3 strategies you could do to increase your PQ score, right? And they were to weaken your saboteurs, strengthen your PQ brain, and then strengthen your SAGE. And weakening your saboteurs was all about understanding, so getting a clear understanding of what your saboteurs are, particularly understanding them, then discrediting their lies and their limiting beliefs, as your saboteurs will want to take control. They will not want to be dismissed. Once you've got a bit of better understanding, then you can start to get some awareness of what the negative thoughts and voices in your heads are and how your reactions and behaviors are modified as a result. And then once you've got that awareness, then you can start to label them, right? So when you feel a saboteur at work in your thoughts and emotions, in that moment, label them and then let it go. And so, for example, I use things like, thanks for your input, Judge Russ, but you are no longer required today. So thanks for your input. So that labeling is really important, because what you've done is you've made it aware, and then you've labeled it and you've said, I don't need your help anymore. All right, so that's the first step to weakening your saboteurs, because all of a sudden, then you start to take control and make some changes. The next thing was about improving your PQ brain, and that was that we talk about the self-command muscle. It's not really a muscle; it's more of a mental process. But and that's about deliberately moving from saboteur to SAGE mode. We talked about the 10-second PQ reps, which are powerful ways to command your mind to quiet the region where your saboteurs live and activate the SAGE. So it was really important that we intercept the saboteurs. So when you label them, we also do a PQ rep to follow up. And of course, there's another video on all that. So where does this all sort of leave us? Oh, sorry. And then the third point, I forgot about it, was strengthen your sage. So we have 5 sage powers, and there's a number of exercises that you can do to boost your sage and gain deeper access to those powers. And of course, we've done a video on that. So the next phase is really for you to think about what's an action plan to move ahead. Because this is all nice, right? It's all nice. But at some point, we've got to move forward and create a plan to move ahead. So steps are reflect on your PQ score and your key saboteurs. Then have a think about it and goes, so what skills, knowledge, and or behavioral issues do you need to address, right? So are there gaps in your skills? Are there gaps in your knowledge? Or are there behavioral issues that you want to address that are driven by, I guess, your saboteurs, right? And then think about what are the actions you need to take to address these issues. Make sure you start labeling your saboteurs. Commit to 100 PQ reps per day for 21 days and start building your sage powers. All right, and it's important to remember when you're building this action plan, your saboteurs will not go willingly and they will actively try and derail your efforts to minimize their impact. Right? This starts as you start to create the plan, right? So awareness starts now. They will be going, this is rubbish. You don't have time for this. You're a busy person, blah, 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 blah. All right? That's all your saboteurs getting in the way. Because, of course, you've got time to do all this, right? It's just a matter of making it a priority. So here's an example action plan. So your strategy could be weaken saboteurs. You should read the book, label my saboteurs, and then complete a behavioral assessment, right? So sometimes I use Harrison Behavioral Assessments, but you might use DISC or Myers-Briggs or REACH ecosystem. There's a whole heap of different ones we can use. And then start to think about what are the links between my behaviors identified in these behavioral assessments and then what saboteurs are sitting behind some of those behaviors, right? So start to look at the links and then, I guess, learn more about those saboteurs, all right? So part of that is understanding more about your saboteurs. Strengthen your PQ brain. That's about PQ reps each day. I was stunned how important they are and how effective they are. And that's about training your self-command muscle. And then the last one is strengthen your sage. So that's complete a sage power exercise, do one daily, and do that for a number of weeks. All right. So that's a plan that you might use, and it's probably an example of one that you could use to pull together. All right. And if you like, just copy that whole plan and just go for it. Okay. Now, we will have put together a template for you to help pull out your plans, but if not, it's pretty easy to draw up a table with those sort of 5 columns in it and just start to put your actions and things in place. So the next steps for me are for you to move on and to, I guess, take the time to build your PQ plan. So your positive intelligence plan. How are you going to build positive intelligence and how are you going to move ahead? All right. So build the plan. I think it's really important that you read the book, and if you don't read, then listen to the audio book, because it gives you some real insights. There's a lot more stories in it. It's an easy read, and it's a good read, and it will give you a lot more background to this process than probably what we've given you here today. All right, so definitely recommend reading the book and doing some more research on it. Okay, as usual. Thank you for your attendance. Thank you for persevering through this video series. And lastly, if I can be of any help to you at all, then please let me know. By all means, flick me a text, give me a call, or flick me an email, and love to hear from you. All right. I hope this has been useful for you. I found it a really powerful process, and I look forward to hearing great stories about how it's helped you take control, be more positive, and less controlled by those negative saboteurs. All right, have a great day.